Welcome to the Nativity Podcast, where we give listeners a behind-the-scenes look into the life of our active Catholic parish here in Burke, Virginia. How can we help you grow in your own faith? Listen to find out.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Nativity Podcast. I am your host, Father Ed Bresnahan, parochial vicar of Nativity Catholic Church here in Burke, Virginia. And with me, as always,
your director of social media, Mary Castellano.
Oh my gosh, Mary, we have a beautiful day today.
We do.
We are back with another new exciting episode. Maybe to kind of even lead into it, it's just a great time of year.
It is.
I think society gets a little bit carried away with the season because everything turns into pumpkin spice.
Pumpkin spice and everything nice.
Oh my gosh. And it's almost like the whole season is described in that one flavor. And I just, fall is my favorite time of year. So I hate just pinning it on that one flavor. Mm-hmm. And so I just have this is just a really dumb question for you. But I think maybe the question is today would be like, what's the flavor that isn't pumpkin spice that is like your definition of fall?
Ooh, I really like apple.
Oh, perfect. I
love picking apples, apple cinnamon, apple pie, apple cider. Love it. Love it all.
Oh, amazing. Amazing. For me, it's the smell of fall. I think it's that kind of earthy smell of falling leaves. It's the kind of brisk cool when you walk out in the morning. It's not like sweltering hot anymore, but it's kind of starting to get a little crisp and cool. And just whatever that earthy nature smell is, that's like maybe a little bit more moss, a little bit more mushrooms, it just tells me pumpkin squash, that kind of stuff.
Oh, yes.
It just gives me the vibe for fall. It tells me it's a great season. And kind of leading into this fall vibe, friends, we are blessed to welcome Tusa Rebecca and Steve Pannucci, who are our chairs of our fall festival.
That's right. Welcome, guys. Thank you so much for being here.
Pleasure to be here.
And we actually have two other special guests with us. You all may be hearing a little bit from them indirectly throughout this episode. So we have their two daughters here.
Anna Maria, who is a first grader here at Nativity, and Carmina Grace, who's 2 years old.
And they are precious. We're so glad. It's the first time we've ever had like a peanut gallery. We've never filmed before a live audience before.
This is literally like a live audience. It's great. So if you hear, an extra voice, if you hear anything in the background, just know that we have a live audience.
We've got a fan club here, and this is amazing. But I guess I've got to ask you guys, because how is it and what is it that first brought you to Nativity in the first place? What brought you into our circle and our community?
Well, we moved to Virginia about 7.5 years ago, and so being new to the area, we didn't have a church locally. We probably, like many other people, we had visited a couple of churches in the area. There's probably, at least 5 within a 3 or 4 mile radius of where we live. But we only had to come to Nativity once to know it was a done deal that this was going to be our home for sure. Yeah.
Oh, that's amazing. And you guys have gotten certainly involved already. I mean, besides the Fall Festival, what other kinds of places have you been able to find sort of a welcoming environment?
So I think there's 5, as I was thinking about it, there's 5 circles, I guess, that we're a part of, to use Father Bob's phrase. I think our very first one is we became active in the Italian heritage group that's here.
Right.
Yep. So that was our first sort of group that we were part of. I think the second one was the festival. And then
Spread.
Just 2 Spread. Yeah.
So I volunteered with Spread, and then...
then I got involved with Father Bob asked me to be on its parish council.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah,
How long have you been on the parish
This is
council?
the first year of my second term.
Okay.
On the council, yeah. So it's I guess the fourth year of that. And then of course Anna Maria goes to school here now.
Oh yeah,
yeah. So
it's been an absolute joy, because at first I would see you guys at Mass and shake your hands after Mass, but now as I visit the classes in the school, I've been running into her and seeing seeing little smiles and people bounding around and everything like that. So it's just a really funny little. It's a beautiful way of kind of connecting to the whole family. So, what an amazing experience then to be able to feel kind of welcome into the community and everything like that. How did you guys meet in the first place?
We were both living in Boston and went to the same running club.
Same running club.
And so there was one weekend we were introduced, like we knew our names. And the next weekend, Steve challenged me to run the 6-mile loop. And the rest is history.
Wow.
So what was the normal loop?
I was
10
barely,
miles.
well, for him, I was barely running.
Oh, okay. So this was
I was
a
like-
new experience for you.
I was reintroducing my love of running.
Well, I guess that's the secret to marriage, right? Is kind of helping push each other out of your comfort zone a little bit.
That's a great spin on that.
That was-
I was like, how do I go from there? Wow.
Spoken like a person who has clearly never been married.
Oh, that's awesome.
That's incredible. So are either of you from Boston, or is like Boston just kind of a landing place for work or whatever?
I went to school in New Hampshire, and
Sure.
then after graduation, I lived in Boston after college for probably about 20 years.
Okay.
And then before we moved here to Virginia.
Okay.
And I was just there for a year for school.
Wow. So the
So-
window was 1 year, and you
That's
just happened to meet
incredible.
each other in that
window.
spot, in that
Yeah.
window, and the rest is history. So, so then now, as I understand, as you guys grew in your relationship with each other and everything, your faiths are very similar. Your faith tradition was very similar, but it was different. I think so.
That's very true. Yeah.
So how did you navigate that for a family?
Well, maybe just by background, I was born Irish Italian Catholic from New Jersey, like the very classic New Jersey Italian Catholic. Yeah, but to Rebecca was very different.
Yeah, my experience was a little different. So I was raised Lutheran, but we had, depending on what the family needs were, we were involved in different churches at different times. And my mom always said, "You're part of the family of God." But by high school, I went to a Catholic high school, and my mom taught at the Catholic high school and was very much beloved by the Catholic community. So we were quite involved in the Catholic community just by way of being so close-knit through the school, and my mom being a part of that community. And then when I met Steve, I would go to church with him. So it wasn't anything new. I went through confirmation with the other kids in high school. So I'd gone through all of the religious ed. And when we got married in the Catholic Church, and then we kept going to church together. So I think in some ways it was a bit of a laugh at times when people found out I wasn't Catholic. But I became a member of the church about 18 months ago, and did that alongside the spread community.
Wait,
So
really?
that was really special.
18 months ago.
Yep.
Wow. Okay, yeah. Wow.
So now you're part of
Part of the community.
Oh my God.
She has stumped many people, including priests, about her
Well,
Lutheran
that's
background. Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah.
Which really also speaks volumes to the idea of not that there's a difference to this, but the idea of living your Catholic faith, right? Because there's one thing to sort of be a card-carrying member of any denomination, but just because you're the card-carrying member of the denomination doesn't mean that you're, all in. And so to be all in and to live that authentically, it's really a beautiful thing. Just happened a little different for you.
Happened a little different.
Actually, I remember during our pre-Cana classes, the priest that we went through that program with talking about that point of, because she was still Lutheran at the time, of it's about the intention as much as it is the sort of the title on the paper, right? So
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
yeah. So
So then growing up, I think but like, experiencing your marriage and parenting with your lovely daughters, what has been kind of some of the standards for you, kind of maybe what really binds your family together in prayer and faith? Like what really kind of sets you guys not set you guys apart, but kind of what fuels that?
what's very interesting concept that has already happened in the past year, not 6-8 months, is Carmina Grace, our 2-year-old, won't let us eat dinner until we say grace.
Yes.
So she makes us
Good for
stop
you, honey.
whatever we're doing when we
Keep
sit
going
down.
with that.
She makes us stop and say grace. But I mean, that's very high level, big picture kind of stuff.
Sure.
But it's still something. I think it speaks to, that plus sort of the ritual of going to church every week and on Sunday. And I think I think we've established some core principles that kind of hold it all together.
And you were saying before we started recording that, having your whole family here, like in the studio together, this is actually pretty normal for you all.
Yeah.
And you were saying that this is how you continue to serve as a family, as you bring the whole family.
Yeah.
Can you just kind of share a little bit more about that?
Yeah, well, I mean, one of the points I was saying before we went live was that we promised ourselves before we got married that as best we could, we would try, once we had kids, to bring the kids into our lifestyle as opposed to changing our lifestyle to suit the kids. I mean, there's obviously you have to give and take and adapt and whatever. But, we, from a very early age, we had Anna Maria in tow with whatever activity we were doing, either during the week or on the weekends. And, that was just became part of what she knew and part of her lifestyle. Even with the fall festival, our first fall festival was when she was 6 months. We got her a staff T-shirt, and she was part of the group, right?
What year would that have been?
2018.
2018, which makes sense because just this past weekend they were doing the recruiting for volunteers and sign up and buying tickets and things like that, and everybody had their staff T-shirts. And there's something really precious about the tiniest staff member, 2 feet tall, just like running around with little, sign up, buy tickets, and here's the little brochure, and like just a big smile and just that bright lemon yellow fluorescent highlighter shirt that just says, was it orange? It was orange.
It's orange.
Yeah.
That's okay.
Same idea.
It was fluorescent,
Yellow.
and I
It's
don't
bright.
know.
It's
very bright.
We
High
stand out.
visibility.
Yeah, it's louder than I am. That's the point.
And this concept of bringing the kids along, I think my mom modeled that. So she was always really involved. And I have a picture at home somewhere of her she led the children's ministry. And, there she is up in front of all the kids. And it was probably VBS or something. And she's got my little brother on her hip. And I mean, that's how we were raised, was we just tagged along and we were involved. But it plays out similarly for how I grew up, is we had lots of kind of aunts and uncles, but they were our friends from church. And now it's playing out for the girls, where they have a lot of really tight community members who are a lot like aunties and uncles or grandparents or cousins. And it's our faith community and our faith family. And it just plays out really nice. It's pretty sweet to see.
It's incredible. And I think that's the right way to do it. I can't tell you how many times people will sort of come up with a new ministry or a new thing that sort of takes people out of the ordinary of liturgy and worship and community, and say like, okay, well, we're going to do this thing that's special and away from everybody. Right. So, I don't know, so it's like, instead of kind of integrating everybody into the whole parish community, it's like, well, we're going to take this special group and just do it off to the side. And so then people will only be involved in their faith through this sort of external thing, right? Or this one special project.
Yeah, and I think it's really great, too, that you all are modeling how to integrate your lives in ministry with small children, because that's something that we talk about a lot in the office, especially with Allison Fram, our director of family ministry, is how to incorporate more families into the life of the parish. And so I think the way you all are choosing to do it is a really great model. I'm also thinking back to one of our previous episodes, maybe 2 or 3 episodes ago, the Tiago family, and we had their whole family here, too. And, JJ is a teenager, so a completely different stage of life than a 2-year-old, 6-year-old. But I love how you guys are modeling how a whole family can be incorporated to the life of the church as a family and together. So anyway, just thank you all for your witness. It's amazing.
It enables us to do what we want to do, right? And it's not easy, not by any means. And we, I think to all the events at the Italian the cultural group that we go to, the programs that we participate in, and I'm active on the board and all that, like I mentioned. But we often, while we're there, we miss them because we're chasing the 2 kids around the cafeteria and all that. But so it's not easy, but it allows us to participate.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And don't worry, the fruitfulness will be there, right? Yeah. I mean, they grow up, they'll be listening at church, you'll get more out of the homily. All those different things will happen.
Well, even just to know that when we're at Mass on Sunday, the kids know as many people as we know, or as many people that we know also know the kids, right? So it kind of goes together.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Incredible. That's so good. So now it sounds like the big culmination of all of this. I mean, parish council, these are all, beautiful and big things, but it sounds like the big thing that kind of consuming most of your time right now is getting ready for this massive event that the parish puts on every year. So tell us a little bit about the festival. What is the festival? How did you guys get roped into? I mean, how did you guys choose to become the chairs of this incredible thing?
It was a donut Sunday.
Those are two very long stories.
Yes, we're here for
long stories. It was a donut Sunday, and we were kind of new, and Father Bob must have recognized that we were new. But what he said is, you'll find your circles. And so I think we were a little bit on the lookout that in such a large parish, how do you find your circle? And they announced that they needed volunteers for the fall festival, and we thought, we can volunteer. But we didn't realize that when we showed up for the meeting that we had volunteered to be on the committee. So the first year, she was just 6 months old, and what we ended up was we were in charge of the goldfish. And Father Bob wants every kid to go home with a goldfish.
Yeah, I should probably preface this, that our fall festival has a few traditions, and that is definitely one of them. Yeah. That every kid goes home with a live goldfish. We're not talking Pepperidge Farm.
No, right. And often more than one.
Often more than one.
Yeah, exactly.
Often more than one.
Yeah.
And then...
It's a thing.
So it was the Basagias who were the chairs at the time, and they wanted to pass the baton. And I think they were trying to get somebody to do it. And we were kind of like, we could find out what it would take to do it, but I don't know. And then in the background, Janet shared with us that Father Bob had already said, what about the goldfish people? So
what about
we knew, and I remember the Sunday coming into church, and we knew that Father Bob was going to ask us, and Steve was like, well, what are we going to tell him? And I was like, well, do you have a way to say no? I think we say we'd love to. And we've been doing it since.
So yeah, so I think it's we took, I forget if it was 1 or 2 years off during COVID.
Sure.
But all in, it's I think 6 years associated with the festival, 5 years as the chairs.
And a lot of the committee members have been doing it
as long
as us or longer.
Yeah, so that's how we got involved.
That's great.
With our tiny staff in tow.
With our tiny staff in staff shirts, grooming the next chair in a few years. So, but what has been the fruit out of this? Because planning the fall festival is such a labor intensive. I mean, you're getting volunteers, you're trying to figure out tickets, booths, you're trying to figure out manning everything. There's just a lot of logistics. So how does, in the midst of all of that we don't get to, how do you just not get too in the weeds? How do you sort of still keep it on the mission of really being able to just serve the parish and see this ministry?
It's 100% about the community. That's the end goal. It's not a fundraiser. It's not a money-making event. Father Bob gave us one rule, which said, make sure everybody has fun. And that's really what we've gone with, and what we've strived for. And I guess as I think about your question about what is the fruit, we get to know that essentially the entire church has the invitation to come for this, what's always been a fantastic day. So the fact that we get to sort of, I don't know, oversee the kind of the glue that pulls that all together. But then, I don't know about you, Rebecca, on festival day, just to see, I don't think my smile doesn't stop from the minute we get there until the minute we go
That's
home.
accurate.
Because it's it's so great. It's fun to be there, but it's also so great to see everybody else having fun. Mm-hmm. I think, and just that whole community spirit.
Oh yeah. There's one particular emotion or one particular moment that I always live for. I felt bad because I missed it last year because it was my 20th college reunion. So I was in Texas. So I'm excited for this experience again. But our church, the sidewalk is kind of this downward sloping progression from where our church is all the way down to where the gym is. And the festival, most of the booths of the festival are situated kind of as you go down there by the gym and kind of turn the corner and go around behind our gymnasium. And as you're walking from the top of the hill, you can hear the festival before you see it.
Yep. Yes.
And it's just this palpable kids screaming, like, music playing, and just stuff going on, just the general cacophony of humanity just happening. And so it's this buildup as you go down. You don't even see the joy. You just hear it. It's coming up the hill.
It's true.
And I love that feeling. I love that feeling.
You also get the smell of the grill, too.
Oh, the smell of the grill, the funnel
you,
cakes are going.
You probably see like the smoke of the grill first, and that kind of that's like your trail down. It's like follow the
burgers,
the grill, yeah.
But it truly is a great day. Truly is a great day.
Yeah,
and I will say, the group that we have the privilege of working with that makes the festival run, we say this every year, but we seem to say it more and more every year, is we feel like as the chairs we do the least amount of work. It's really the entire, I think we have 9 or maybe 10 committees, and it's the people that run each of those committees that deserve 100% of the credit for making the festival be what it is, because we just make sure it all happens. They actually do all the work.
Oh yeah.
And so it's really, I don't know, that in itself is really great.
Wow.
And we've made really good friends too, as being on the festival.
Yeah. For sure.
Yeah.
And is there anything different about this year's festival? Anything that the parish should look forward to?
We try every year to add something new.
There are a couple of things that are, so a lot of it is the same. So have no fear. The rock climbing wall is still going to be there. Popcorn, cotton candy, goldfish, still going to be there.
I've been invited to be a pie contest judge.
Yes, pie contest.
I just accepted to be a pie contest judge too.
You're a podcast host judging pies this year.
Yes.
But we do have a couple of new things. So we switched to brats in the food tent last year, but we're bringing back pulled pork sandwiches as an additional food item, and corn on the cob as an additional food item. Corn on the cob. And then what else is new? Well, the Father Bennett and the Honduras team are going to be sharing about their experience and offering free samples of coffee.
From Honduras.
From Honduras.
Okay.
So that's new. And
can I expand on that just for a
Yeah,
minute?
please go ahead.
So I've been talking with them about this, and we haven't gotten them on the podcast yet, right, Father?
No.
We
Every now and again, we have what we call cursed episodes, and it's not because there's something bad. It's just because something always happens. Like do you remember it took us like 2 years to get the sisters on?
Yes.
And then when we got the sisters on, our machines and our mixers blew up.
Yeah.
And so nothing recorded. It was all, with the Honduras people, somebody would get sick, something happened. So we've been trying to get them on ever since they got back from Honduras to talk about their experience.
Yeah, so I promise it's gonna come. We're all gonna hear a much more in-depth episode about their experience. But if you guys don't want to wait for that episode to come out, what you all can do is when you attend the festival, I believe they're going to be sitting by the picnic tables near the entrance to the Father Martin Center. And so they'll have free coffee from Honduras, like we said, and they'll be there to answer any questions that you guys have about the mission trip experience, what next year's mission trip will be like, and just how can we support our brothers and sisters in the country of Honduras. So that is a new thing. I think they're going to be there from 11 a.m. to at least 4 or 5.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah,
we're excited to have them.
Yeah.
That's pretty amazing. But I love that. It's just an opportunity for conversation and all of that. But in addition to the food, there's also these events. There's also like different acts. And have you guys
the entertainment?
Entertainment, exactly.
Yep.
So
we have a couple of bands. The Irish dancers are a highlight, and I think one of the fan favorites is the Creation Care Ministry coordinates a raptor rescue group who comes every year, and they've kind of evolved because they come. I think it was last year was the first year. They got up on stage just for a minute to say, hi, we're here. But then they just walked around the crowd with owls and different kinds of hawks, different kinds of owls.
Oh my
and that's
goodness.
pretty cool. And so you can just talk to them, ask questions. Mm-hmm. And that's going to be at 3:00. That's always a favorite for the kids.
Yeah, the kids love it. And
adults love it too.
Adults love it too.
Yeah.
And
that one's pretty cool.
The dad in me said, it must be a hoot. Sorry.
That was a good one.
Thank you. You can edit that one out.
The Raptors are always a big hit. The kids, everybody likes to see it, and they've gotten that group. It's been the same people every year that have come, and they've gotten very open and good about just making themselves available for pictures. Like as Rebecca said, last year they just walked around the grounds, just letting people see the birds up close and pictures with them, and it's just awesome to be this close.
That's so wild.
To an owl or whatever the bird is.
And last year, one of the new things was the soccer goal challenge competition. I guess I don't know exactly the right word for it, but kids can come and compete and kick soccer goals. But then it's a diocese-wide competition.
It's the Knights of Columbus sponsored athletic event.
Cool.
Much
so
kind of like
that through the festival.
So same idea as the pump, pass, and kick. They do the soccer goal challenge.
They used to do a free throw challenge as well.
Yeah, same idea.
Same idea.
Yeah, you're right.
But that's open to all. There may be age limitations, but that's open to all kids.
All the kids.
And then they go on to compete against other churches and then throughout the wider diocese.
Wow.
So
what an amazing little way then, in just such a small way, to bring the general fun of a festival, but also to connect it to some of the agencies and communities with like the Raptor Rescue Group, Creation Care, Honduras, and our mission trip. And then also, the like Knights of Columbus and the kind of wider view
Girl
there.
Scouts,
So,
Boy
Girl
Scouts.
Scouts,
So we actually probably should maybe add a little color to that. So first of all, more than anything else, the Knights of Columbus is a huge supporter of the festival. They probably have at least more than 100, maybe a couple hundred volunteers throughout between Friday setup and then Saturday festival, the cooking and the grilling and all that. But we do have other, as we've been saying, other ministries that participate as a ministry. The Creation Care, not only do they coordinate the Raptor Show, but they also oversee all the waste and recycling throughout the day. And they always have an activity that they sponsor for anybody that wants to do the activity. One year was a tree scavenger hunt. Another year was another year was a scavenger hunt for native species that
like on the
that were on the campus.
Oh, I remember that one.
Was cool.
And then the Girl Scouts support the cakewalk for the entire day, and the Boy Scouts.
One of my favorites.
The Boy Scouts help with the cleanup on Sunday. But we are going forward looking for ministries to participate as a group to sponsor an event throughout the day. So if there are ministries that are interested in taking on an activity for the day.
I love that.
Yeah.
And I love how that jives immediately with the philosophy that we talked about your family, about the idea of just bringing everybody along in the family and just naturally including everybody along the way so that it's not like, well, Boy Scouts only do Boy Scout things. It's like, well, no. This is a way to bring the Boy Scouts into what the parish is doing.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, for
it's,
sure. For sure.
From a prayer perspective, it's kind of what we're trying to do with the 40 hours. Where the different groups spend some time in prayer, kind of putting their time aside from whatever their normal ministries are to kind of join as the parish sort of slows down and prays. And I love the idea that that's exactly what's happening here. There's so many things that you guys are in charge of, that you're coordinating all of these different moving pieces. And so it's nice to be able to say, when people say, hey, how do I get involved in the parish? How do I get involved? Well, hey, here's just a really simple thing that you can do through your group, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
for sure.
And nothing is too undignified. Or I think doing a small thing with great love, cleaning up on Saturday, setting up on setting up in the morning.
Yeah, absolutely. And it all at least with respect to the festival, it all contributes to making the festival work.
Bingo.
Yeah.
Bingo.
Yeah,
So.
it's seamless. Like every year when I walk in with my camera, it's like, as Father was describing, this, this hubbub of activity and everything. Just like, you guys do an amazing job of it. It looks like a well-oiled machine.
Yeah.
From a participant point of view. It's a little overwhelming too.
Wow.
Because
again, I would draw that back to all the people on the committee that help make it.
Absolutely.
It's more about them than it is about us.
Yeah,
absolutely.
But we do have, just so everyone's aware, we have. We mentioned we call them the rides, but all the bounce house activities, the rock climbing wall. There's games, like carnival style games. There's the entertainment that we mentioned.
Beer and wine.
There's a beer and wine tent.
Right, I was gonna say
There's
that too.
the soccer challenge.
Carnival games.
There's carnival games. Yeah. There's pumpkin decorating, cakewalk, pie contest. There's a balloon twister. In past years, we've had face painting. Unfortunately, that's not going to work out this year, but we've had that. The fish bowl, the goldfish toss. But so there's a lot. There's a lot of fun to be had.
Yeah.
And I think
food.
yeah.
A lot of
food, exactly.
grilled food. There's
Strawberry
desserts.
shortcake.
There's desserts. Yeah.
Apple.
Yeah. And a lot of that food, frankly, is donated to as well. Donated to us.
I think one of the things that I also love so much about the festival is that it just kind of keeps going. You know what I mean? Like you come in and there's food booths. You walk down to the one end and there's, games and rock climbing walls. You walk around, there's, more stuff happening around the corner. You go inside, there's a whole festival of games and balloon animals and things happening in the gym. And then you just cross into the Father Martin or the cafeteria, and there's a whole bunch of cacophony going on in there as well. So like it's just, there's always another thing to go and see. So it really does give you a sense that you're never at a loss for activity.
Yeah, so and the festival is rain or shine.
Yes,
that's right.
Yeah, rain or shine.
Although I think probably our most important volunteers,
The weather committee is pretty important.
The weather committee is very
important.
important.
Saying this.
Father Bob always tasks our two beloved sisters, and always tasks them with praying for good weather. And I think at least for the last 6 years, as long as you guys have been running the thing, it's been
so far so good. Yeah.
Shine, right?
Yeah.
So
yeah. Last year, our weekend of all the weekends throughout September where there were festivals, the Burke Festival and whatever else, ours was the only weekend it didn't rain.
That's incredible. So I think God listens to our weather committee. I think that's very fair and easy to say. Very fair. Well, I want to see if we can't get Anna Maria in here for just a second. Anna Maria, can I ask you a question? Would you be okay with answering a question? She says she doesn't want to, but that's okay. The very simple question. Maybe you guys might know this for her. Do you know what her favorite event or thing at the festival is?
Oh, we know the answer to that.
Cotton candy, she says.
The cotton candy.
She's the official bounce house tester. In the mornings when they get set up, she makes sure everything's all good with the bounce houses.
Oh, that's incredible.
That's an important role.
Yeah.
Very important role. Thank you very much, Anna Maria. I appreciate that. That's so good. So with all of this, getting involved, seeing the fruit of the festival, seeing the fruit of everything else that you guys have really built here at Nativity, what kind of advice would you give to families, families that are already here or families that are looking for a place as a way to get involved, or just how to find community, or like what,
So I have thoughts on that.
You go ahead then.
Yes.
I have some thoughts, but you go first.
So hear it all.
So over my entire life, I've never been to a church this big, and most of my life, all of my life except for my years here in Nativity, the churches I've been to actually were very small, maybe big buildings, but small parish bodies. When as much as I knew on my first trip here that this was going to be our home, I was just at a loss for how we were ever going to meet people and make friends, because the idea of that many people in a church, you would maybe never see the same person twice. I was thankfully very mistaken by that idea. And I would say it's 100% because, and this is the same advice I would give to Father Bob. And we mentioned it, or same advice I would give to anybody, which I got from Father Bob, which is what we talked about earlier, which is find your circle. That's what he told us, find a circle. Our one circle turned into now 5 circles. And we spent a lot of time volunteering and participating and doing all that, but it's the benefit of that is, of course, the activity that we're participating in, but also the so many great people that we've got to meet and know and become friends with over the years. It's just so rewarding and so fun to know so many people at church. And we're here all here for the same reason, and have the same sort of commonality of coming here to participate and practice, and just to have that such a strong sense of community. It's been so rewarding for me, and just not that everybody has to be in 5 circles, but just to be active at all, I think, and just to get to know, use that as a way to get to know people.
Yeah, our active involvement is a lot like what I grew up with, and I wasn't sure I would ever quite find that, and so it's been really cool to have it as part of our family's culture. I think as far as advice for other families is to just jump in and know it's going to be a little messy. Your kids don't have to be perfectly behaved at everything you go to. And, it is nice. And even coming to the fall festival and volunteering, like it's pretty low risk to volunteer for an hour or two, and you might get to know somebody right there for that hour or two. And it gives people a chance to have a name to say hello to. But I do think just kind of jump in. And maybe do it unconventionally. Like, I don't think it's any secret that we're the only ones at the Italian group who bring kids or who have little kids who would need to be. I mean, there are some other people who have kids in school, but that might not be like the conventional family group. But there's no reason it has to be that way. So just kind of jumping in, see what works, what you're interested in,
and the same people
it'll work out.
The same people that welcome us at church are those very same people that welcome us at any of the groups that we participate with, and so they welcome the kids, and no one else's kids would be unwelcome either for any of the ministries or any of the activities, right?
This is definitely, I think, the most welcoming like family event of the year. It's funny, I was reflecting on this just a few days ago, that after Easter and Christmas, it's the fall festival as far as like days of importance here at Nativity, where it's like my presence here to photograph it is that important. Like, I cannot emphasize that enough. Like, I thought I was going to have a wedding this year that I would have to go to, and I was like, oh gosh, no, please, no, please, no. And I was like, dang, I'm going to have to hire another photographer. I'm like, can I make it work? Thankfully, the wedding is not going to conflict. So, like, that's what I mean by how important this day is to us as a parish family. But I also want to add something else. This isn't an attraction per se, but it's definitely a really big bonus. This is also probably one of the best opportunities to get to know our priests and our clergy and the sisters. Father Bob, I think Father Bresnahan was saying this a few days ago, it like basically tells all the priests, you block everything off your calendar.
It off. Don't go anywhere.
Yeah. So like, of course, Father had his reunion last year. So that's, that was his priority, of course. But, chances are anywhere you go during the fall festival, you will run into at least one or two nativity clergy. And especially if you want to get to know them, and if you're new here, or if one of our priests is new, like Father Bennett's still getting to know people, this is a wonderful opportunity to sit down with them, grab a burger, grab a beer, or do the cake walk with them, or decorate a pumpkin with one of them.
Yeah.
This is really the best opportunity to do that.
Get your pie judged.
Yeah.
And I think if you look at many of the pictures on website and social media, some of the best pictures are from the fall festival.
Oh, thank you.
So good.
Yeah.
You took some great pictures.
You've taken some great pictures.
Thank you.
Some really great pictures. Yeah.
I think one of the other things that I absolutely love about it, and this isn't like a mark against anything else, we have a lot of celebrations at Nativity. Nativity does a really good job of celebrating the hard work that our people put in and really celebrating our community. But it feels like sometimes each of the things is sort of like got its sponsorship. And so it sometimes feels like that's the only. So like the Italian Cultural Society does their Christmas, they do their Christmas party, right? The Natale Festivale, right? Festival, right? And so there's a sense it's like, okay, well, maybe that's only it's for the whole parish.
Open to the whole parish.
It's open to the whole parish, but it kind of has that little label up at the front that's like the Italian Society is putting this on, or like the Knights of Columbus St. Patrick's Day dinner and dance. And so it's open to the whole parish, but with the Knights of Columbus there, sometimes it might feel like it's the only.
It can feel like if you're not a part of those particular groups, then
yeah.
It's like, oh, well, if I'm not a part of that group, maybe I should or shouldn't go, which of course is not actually the case.
It's not actually the case. But the Parish Festival is just that. Everybody's all in, and it's for everybody.
Yeah.
And it's so clear that that's the case. So
Right.
Yeah. And everybody's welcome, of course.
Yeah.
What's the big plug? The big plug for what we need now. First, probably to get people to come to the festival.
Yes.
So when is it and what time is it?
So it's this Saturday, the 28th.
Saturday the 28th.
Yeah, rain or shine.
Rain or shine.
Hopefully shine.
Shine. Shine or shine.
Start praying now.
The festival runs from 11 until 7 with a special 1 hour earlier open at 10 o'clock for families that participate with the spread community.
That's right.
Yeah, so it's open. So it opens at 10 o'clock for that group of people, and then 11 o'clock for the rest of the parish.
For the rest of the community.
Yeah, rest of the community.
Amazing.
Yeah.
And they can just come on over, right? They just come to the
There's
parish and walk down the hill.
There's no charge to come in. We tickets are available to purchase at our door.
Sure.
All transactions are in tickets, so there's no money to spend on the inside the festival. But yeah, everyone is welcome. The grills will be turned on probably by I don't know, 8 in the morning, so they're ready to have food by 11:30. So yeah, that's when it is. And what do we need? Is that what you're?
Yeah, is there
also
anything?
We
Do
need
you still need
volunteers.
We need
volunteers?
We still
So,
need
yeah,
volunteers.
we
At
need
last
volunteers.
count, I think it was about 70% full. We especially need volunteers in the later hours.
Sure.
Okay.
And I think any youth who need service hours, either for school or confirmation, we provide service hours. But we need a lot of adults to volunteer as well. For some of it, it's a safety issue or just oversight, but we do need a lot of adults to sign up to volunteer. But we've never had it always works out. We always get volunteers, but we do need people to sign up to volunteer.
Sure. And how
we
can they
need-
volunteer?
Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, how
Yeah,
can they
finish that.
volunteer?
Yeah. How? Is there a sign up? Is there a
Yeah,
website?
there's a sign up genius on the Fall Festival webpage. So I think it's nativityburke.org
Nativityburke.org.
Fall Festival.
/
Yeah.
Fall Festival.
Yeah.
And the sign up genius is there. People can bring cakes for the cakewalk. We get over 100 cakes for the cakewalk. Those could be store bought or homemade or a dozen, cupcakes or whatever. And people have a lot of fun decorating. That's always exciting. It's the pie contest. We have a youth division as well as an adult division. And that's been real popular. And then we need people at the bounce houses and in the gym overseeing the games and making cotton candy. That's a fun one. So there's a lot to do.
It's incredible. And then for the average person to just go, just to
Right.
experience it.
Just to
there's
come
gonna be
and
a
have
lot of
fun.
Yeah.
Say hi to somebody
Exactly.
you don't know.
Yeah.
Say
I like
hi to
that.
some. I love that.
I love that.
I
It's
think
a
that's
great way to end.
That's a great challenge. Let's go with that, right? Say hi to somebody that you don't know. Make a new friend. What a great place to do that. So, yeah. All right. So, we friends, that's amazing. What an amazing testament of faith and joy. I'm so glad we had them on.
Yeah.
What a great gift.
Yeah, thank you guys so much. And I'm
been-
so glad we were able to squeeze this in and make
Yeah.
this happen. And thank you for bringing the girls.
Oh, they're so precious. Any plugs?
Any plugs? Oh, man. Well, just come to the Fall Festival.
Come to the Fall
honestly.
Festival, and please sign up and volunteer. Take an
Yeah.
hour out of your festival experience to help volunteer for the festival.
I have one more plug. Father alluded to 40 hours. We're going to have more conversations about that and more information, but that is 40 hours of prayer in October. I believe it's one of the last weeks of October. So stay tuned for that. That's the only other thing that I'm just going to plug for right now.
Absolutely. All right. Well, Pannucci's.
Thank you.
Thank you.
It's been
To
great fun.
Rebecca, Steve, we are so glad to have you. It has been an absolute joy. And friends, remember, you can sign up and you can follow at nativityburke.org /fall festival. And remember to like and subscribe for our podcast. And the best way to spread the word, if you like what you're hearing, is to share it with a friend. Word of mouth is the best way to do this. So tell your friends and family. And we are so grateful for you guys. Pray for us, and we'll pray for you.
Thank you very much.